Welcome back to Village in Motion this November 25th, day before Thanksgiving. I hope everybody's ready for all that good turkey tomorrow, and you're ready for all your friends and family. But right now, we're going to talk about the Resident Council and the accomplishments that the Resident Council has made this year, and we hope that we'll show you just how many things the council has been involved in through the actual council itself and through the committees of the council. But in order to do that, we have two people who are the officers of the council. We have both Mary Sue Garner, who is the vice president of the council, and have Carl Nemeshek, who is the secretary of the council. And I'm Clint Lambert, and I have had the pleasure of being the president of the council this past year. But welcome, Mary Sue and Carl. Glad to have you with us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Good to be here.
When we look back over this past year and the council, what really stands out to you that we've accomplished? What's a major thing? I'll start with Mary Sue.
I was thinking about that this morning and what would be the first question.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are three major things we've really talked about this year, a lot. Signature dining.
Yes.
The leaking roofs.
Yes.
And then more recently, parking.
Yes. And those really are three big things that we've had input to as representatives of the residents.
Right.
Directly to management in regards to that.
Yeah.
Carl?
Well, those certainly are some major ones, but I was thinking about the year and the number of residents that were involved in the committees. I believe it was like 114 residents that volunteered this year to come and work with us. And without that kind of support and activity and involvement, we would not have accomplished hardly any of those goals.
That's exactly right, because that work really gets done in the committees, and we rely on the residents to volunteer for those committees and really put out an effort to get things accomplished.
And then I would also include the support that Ben has provided to the council and the committee work and organized his staff to seek our opinions and get us involved, keep us involved. And he has made a big difference too in allowing the council to get a lot accomplished.
Yes. Yeah. From my standpoint, and I totally agree with you, Carl, from my standpoint, the communication that has improved so much this year. I mean, I just have really seen the collaboration between management and residents and the council just working extremely well. And a lot of that's been because of Ben and his openness and his willingness to be transparent and wanting resident input and always asking for resident input. And it's been nice being on the council and being able to give him input in regards to it.
Well, and he includes all the residents in giving information.
Yes.
For instance, last week when he had this special meeting about the leaking pipes and you know, a full disclosure of what they've done all year long and what's happening and plenty of time for people to ask questions and involving three residents, ambassadors they're calling them, to be involved in the whole process. Right. We just haven't had that before.
No, never have. And it's so nice that he wanted that. He wants that resident input and wants residents to be able to see what's going on and explain it to other residents. And I don't know if everybody knows who those three residents are or not that have been selected. Chuck Harding is one of them, and he'll be a new council member for next year. Sharon Dwyer is another one, and then the third one is Vince Angier, who is a cameraman here at Channel 6. He's not working today, but it's always nice to have him around. And all three of them are very articulate, and they'll be very interested in things, and we'll be able to share what's going on with the remediation of the damage that was done because of the sprinkler pipes. But communications has been great. You mentioned dining services in the form of signature dining, which has been going on for 8 months now.
At least.
It seems like it's even been longer than that.
Well, it has been, because when I first got on dining services, as chair of dining services 4 years ago, then they were talking about a la minute cooking, you know, and that talk went on for years. Right. But this year, it started.
It started. And it started in a big way, and in a very effective way from everything I've understood at Woodland Skies, not this past week, but the week before in regards to it. And having the reservation system, people were very happy in regards to that. And things went very smoothly in regards to it.
Another part of the dining services effort was resolving that end of the month surge
Right.
that the dining committee worked with the dining management and came up with a plan to relieve some of that pressure.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, and again, resident input. Yeah, to get things done.
And another part was the carryout.
Mm-hmm.
All of those procedures have been changed, hopefully to make it easier for everybody.
Yeah.
And Dining Services Committee, that is the one that did the study about the carryout, did the study about the flex meals. So big input.
Right. Very big.
From residents.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, even though we don't really see what the finance committee does, they do a lot of work in pulling together all the data and then coming up with a report that they share with all of us in regards to that. Again, resident input, resident participation. Even
Yeah.
with finance.
And this year they have prepared some articles for the villager and got that information in the hands of the residents in a pretty direct way.
Exactly, exactly. And it's been very meaningful and very very easy to read. It's been very readable in regards to it. General services, you mentioned parking. Has come directly
Most
under
recent.
general services and came out of a resident committee
Absolutely.
with general services.
Yeah, it started with a study last year. General Services had a parking committee. They worked on it, and then it continued this year, and then they actually have implemented a lot of that.
Yeah.
And
Also, of course, General Services dealt a lot with the new television DirecTV
That's right.
emphasis
Yes.
and prepared some information about how to use your remotes and gave that out and what channels are available.
Right.
They were quite involved in
They really
trying
were.
to get the community informed.
Yeah, and to train the community, help to train them
Train it, right.
in regards to the use, which made made it much easier in regards to it all the way along.
And I think we have to mention General Services, Dining Services have subcommittees that met
Yes.
regularly with, well, monthly, I guess, with managers of the various departments under General Services, for instance. The transportation, housekeeping, and so on.
Right.
Meeting regular with those managers, I think, makes a big difference.
Yes.
You're talking one-on-one with the people who actually do the work.
Right. And I found it very interesting at the General Council meeting the other day that Dining Services reviewed over 6,000 comment cards so far this year. I mean, that's a lot of input from residents in regards to dining services that went directly through other residents on the committees to review and then to make recommendations and send them forward to management.
Yes.
So,
To put this even in further review, the comment cards, the dining is sort of like that, but General Services also has comment cards.
Yes.
The medical center has a comment card, and that has been emphasized and regularly, and we seek that information
Exactly.
in several areas.
yes.
Right.
And it's all resident input. It's residents are saying, this is the way I feel about this, or this is something I've observed that needs to be changed or improved upon. So it's really nice to get that input. Then Health Services Committee, the things that they have done this year in regards to Garden Ridge, the ambassadors at Garden Ridge has really.
Well, and they arranged, that committee arranged tours of Garden Ridge for all of.
That's right.
We started off with their committee, I guess, first, and then the resident council took a tour.
Right.
And then we suggested all of our committees do tours. So
Right.
that was a real plus, I think. People who had never been there before
Right.
got a good view of what was happening, and all positive.
All positive.
All positive.
Really
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they also worked out some training sessions in using the electronic medical record patient portal, which most of us were totally unfamiliar with.
Right.
And that program is being developed.
Yeah.
And, we learned how to get into it, what we can get information-wise,
Right.
and it can be a helpful tool for residents.
It really can be.
And they're developing it even further.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the other things, just in regards to that, is the care path for individuals who have their primary physician on the outside, as opposed to using physicians at the medical center here on campus. But for people to be able to turn in their records and have a record of what they've been doing as far as their health, turn it into the medical clinic so that will go with them if they need to go to the hospital or whatever. And the committee has been very, very active in working on that.
And that's still a work in progress.
Yes.
That's going to be one of their goals again next year. Another thing they did was at Garden Ridge, residents had trouble reading name badges of the employees. They couldn't tell, it wasn't big enough, they couldn't tell what the job was. And so they've improved that and have new name badges to take care of that problem. And that seems kind of small, but over there it's a very,
yes,
very,
it's very
big thing.
very big in regards to it.
And the committee also helped with the blood donor drive with Channel 6 and plan to do that again next year. And then they worked on the drug collection program,
Yes.
unused drugs.
Yeah.
And so now we have that going with the pharmacy
Right.
taking charge.
And the pharmacy's announcing when they can do it, and
Yes.
residents can turn in their unused medications
Yes.
in regards to that. We had the Philanthropy Ad Hoc Committee, which was a new committee for us for 1 year to improve the relationship between residents and philanthropy in regards to it. And look at all the money that got raised this year. Phenomenal amount of money that was raised this year. And then, and also the gala, we had a lot of participation, and residents had input
Yes.
in regards to the gala and what we wanted.
Change the format this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Resident Life Committee worked especially on the Staff Appreciation Fund drive,
Exactly.
got heavily involved in
Yes.
preparing for that.
Right. And the Benevolent Care Fund and how we went over our goal in regards to it. And the same thing with staff appreciation this year. We went over our goal. So it's really nice that the residents get involved and with some direction and really start donating and helping one another.
It might help to add that they have altered that name slightly of now the Green Spring Resident Benevolent Care Fund to make it clear to everybody whose benefit that program is for. Right?
Because it is for the residents of Green Spring who need those funds in regards to it. And while we're talking about residents even more, the Resident Life Committee, look at the amount of work they did this year.
So many areas that they oversee and work on, yes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a committee that works in the background because you don't hear a lot about what they're doing, but they are accomplishing things. One thing I know they're working on right now is figuring out how to fund different clubs and organizations with money that they used to get from the treasure chest, and now they are not. So they're really working hard on fixing that problem.
Yes, exactly.
And I'll put in an ad. If anybody has a club or organization, you've gotten funds before, you will need funds, then you need to go to Resident Life and tell them about it.
That's right.
Because if you're not on the list, you may not have funds next year.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have the sales committee, and I think the residents have been so actively involved in that. And the committee, all the committee members serve as hosts either at a table or at an event with new potential residents coming out here seeing what we're all about in regards to it. Another very, very active committee.
And they do hold the training sessions for those members that get involved with the sales events to make sure that they're using positive involvement to try to create the right atmosphere at those sales events. Right.
And now we're back to looking at, from a resident standpoint, and the council's been actively involved in, is the redesign program that's taking place, the repositioning that's happening with Garden Ridge, and the long-term repositioning that will happen at Town Center, that the design committees are back in session for those things. And in fact, all three of us met with that group for the Town Center redesign just the other day. And it looks like it's going to be a while before we get anything, but we're back at looking at what it will be designed as, what does it look like, and residents have input.
Yes.
Well, what we might add, they've had very positive input in maybe reducing the footprint of that plan so it doesn't impede into the courtyard as much as the first thinking had.
which is very nice. I mean, that management said, let's see what we can do, because residents did not want the huge imprint and taking up too much space in the courtyards, and so really have looked at shortening everything, gearing it down in regards to it. One of the other things that we have not mentioned is the fact of this past year the council went to the regional meeting of all the councils again this year, which was very nice out at Riderwood, and to hear the input from all the other councils within the region. All 5 of us met together and to share the ideas, and we brought back some ideas. And one of the things that you did this year, Mary Sue, that came out of one of those meetings a couple of years ago was a listening post.
And I think we give credit to Carolyn Posey for that. But yes, we did the listening post. Not every month this year. We cut it down some, but it was a very valuable place for residents to just talk one-on-one with the resident council. You weren't stopping them in the hall and trying to get their ear, but you could just actually stop, and we were there sitting for a couple of hours. And we got a lot of information, a lot of ideas. We tried to help people. Sometimes we could not, but at least we heard what was going on. Sometimes we could hear problems that were happening across the community and try to deal with that.
Yes.
It was interesting always at those meetings to listen to the other people from other Erickson property, and they have the same kinds of problems we have. We're not unique in any way, shape, or form. We like to share our resolution if we can find some also.
Exactly. But the council has been fun. It gets things accomplished, and we work together. We're not like Congress. We actually work together and get things accomplished. And the 2 of you have done such a wonderful job, and I have so enjoyed working with both of you as well as all the other council this year. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, Carl is stepping down after 6 years of being secretary. Much deserved rest coming up for Carl.
Well, it's been a pleasure working with your leadership, Clint, also, and you have served the length of your term also. So both of us are leaving at this point for now, and it's been interesting, fun most of the time, and a pleasure to serve.
I throw another word out, challenging sometimes.
Yes, that's a good word.
But yeah, I appreciate both of you. You've both done an excellent job, good leaders. Clint, we're going to miss you, but I have your telephone number.
Yes, you do.
And Carl will call you about all the paperwork. But yeah, you will be missed, and you've done a great job all these years.
Well,
you kept everybody informed and paid attention, and you know what's going on, and much appreciated for both of you.
Well, thank you. And we couldn't have done it if it hadn't been for the other council members and for all the residents that have given us feedback and encouragement and support. I mean, that's where it's all at in regards to this. Mary Sue will still be on the council. You have 2 more years. Just got reelected. And so at least 2 more years on the council. And we look forward to hearing great things going on in the council next year. Okay.
Well, we'll certainly, I think, continue what we've been doing, but hopefully no new problems will come up.
There you go. Sounds good.
That's the hope. But you never. It just surprises you what comes up.
Yes. All right. Well, again, thank both of you for coming and sharing with me and sharing with the audience in regards to the accomplishments of the council this past year.
You're welcome.
Thank you.